Give us your initial reaction then to some of the things we heard from the Prime Minister. One area in particular I'm interested in. She said extremism has been tolerated for far too long. How did you interpret that statement? Was that all about online security, or does she want more powers for the Home Office?
It is possible when they do a review that they will decide they need more powers, but I don't think that's the centre of her concerns. I think it's really two things. One is the real world, and the other is online. In the real world, I think what she feels is that while we've put in place a lot of measures, we've got our so-called PREVENT program, which is designed to prevent radicalization and to help the de-radicalization of people who've got into trouble, that it doesn't have enough momentum, it doesn't have enough support, that probably the Muslim community in the UK still isn't actively enough engaged, and that there has to be a much bigger effort and to make this program really work, and that in the wake of so many people coming back from Syria, probably the threat is growing again, and so she's very concerned about, I think, the lack of commitment in that area. So I think, post-election we are going to see a ramping up of that program. The other area which concerns her, and this isn't new, I mean, she's made it clear before, but now there's a huge emphasis on it, is the feeling, which is supported by quite a lot of evidence, that the online companies, and they range from quite small to the really big ones, are insufficiently active in taking down material and indeed discouraging its use at all on their programs, on their messaging systems. And I think we are going to see now a very much more active initiative to get their cooperation, to get them to act more rapidly, and I think also possibly to take a really big initiative to insist that they've got to take the responsibility of publishers. So I think this is going to become quite a big issue. It will have, obviously, transatlantic implications, because most of these companies are American.
Yes, Yes, I wanted to ask you about that then, Pauline. Does the tension that we've seen between the UK and the United States of late and continued over the weekend to some extent with comments that President Trump made about the Mayor of London's response, does this pose a challenge? If the Prime Minister wants to tackle extremism online, many of these companies are American, she's going to need US cooperation to do this, isn't she?
Absolutely, absolutely, and she's well aware of that. And so you won't find the Prime Minister, I think, engaging in a spat with the President. But I can't disguise from you that his remarks are unpopular because they're regarded as being ill-considered and actually wrong. Sadiq Khan did not say what he is alleged to have said. And it's not helpful, to be frank, when there is a Muslim mayor of London, who is an extremely moderate and well-judged man, who gets on with the Prime Minister, who is very cooperative, to be, in effect, accused of something which he hasn't said, hasn't done, and have his reputation damaged. So, I think it gives a background which is not conducive to further cooperation or a feeling in the UK that actually the US government understands what's going on here.
Pauline, a very good morning to you. It's Manus in the studio. I'm just wondering, we've just been talking about the current position between Saudi Arabia and a number of the countries down there in regards to Qatar. The Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, accused May of covering up a report on support for extremism and that her proposal for difficult conversations must start with tackling Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states that have funded and fueled extremist ideology. Does that argument have merit? Does that have merit?
It has some resonance, simply because the long-standing Wahhabi promotion of very extreme forms of Islam, but not violence, is an issue, and it has been a source of both dialogue and cooperation I have to say, between the Saudi authorities and the UK. But there remains, of course, a big legacy of extremism, which does have some Wahhabi roots. Would Mr. Corbyn command a great deal of support in the UK by saying that's the place to start? No. Do his views actually carry much weight, given his own background and his own attitudes to terrorism in the past? Is he a credible spokesman, really, for all this? He isn't. So
yes.
the impact of that kind of remark, though it's part of the debate, and there will be some who say, look, there is an issue here, it's not, I think, going to deflect much view or opinion in this country away from what the Prime Minister intends to do to the views of the Leader of the Opposition.
This is the third attack in 3 months, then, on
Yeah.
UK soil. We understand that a further 5 were foiled. Do you think we'll see? We're told that things look different on the streets. You can see that there's more security measures in place as you travel about London, or more police and a different variety of police. What for you needs to change now as a result of what happened on Saturday?
Well, I think it's clear that for the foreseeable future, there will actually have to be a bigger armed presence on the streets and more police actually visible. So I think that we are going to see a period where security is much more visible than it has been. I mean, on the whole, if you look at the UK record, one of the things that's been characteristic of the way in which security is managed in this country is that we attempt to make it as invisible as we can, consistent with security, in order to allow life to be as normal as possible. And that's been true right through these very high security alert times. But I think that's now going to change for 2 reasons. One is I think the authorities will feel that people actually need the security of greater visibility of security. I'm not sure we will see the police back on the army back on the streets. I rather doubt that. But I think we will see higher level of visible protection. Secondly, I would think that there will be different orders inside the police, different daily routine, and that security will be a much higher profile task, potentially at the price of other things that the police normally do. So that I think will be, for the indefinite future, will be the case. They will obviously look at the longer term and whether the counter-security elements in the policing they've been protected, they've been financed to the levels that the police have demanded. There is a feeling, I think, which the government is going to have to deal with, and I don't know its level of justification, that the reduction in the numbers of police for other tasks will have to be reversed in order to increase the number of officers who have community connections. Because clearly, one of the ways you get information is enough police and good relationships within communities, that confidence is sufficient that you get tipped off.
Baroness Neville-Jones, thank you very much.